All right. Well, welcome back, everyone. Joining us for our next session is Jason Younce, Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and Joe Santo, Vice President of Major Accounts at Encore. Encore is a leading technology provider with experience supporting all kinds of events, including college campuses and conference centers. And they're going to share more about this during their presentation, Encore and Impactful Campus Technology Partners. With that, it's all yours, Jason.
At Encore, it all starts with a handshake. We know that true partnership is about relationships, a connection, a common goal that bonds us. From boardroom to ballroom, courtyard to amphitheater, we consider ourselves a seamless extension to your team. With a hospitality-first mindset, our team delivers world-class service through innovation, collaboration, expertise, and excellence. Providing exceptional creativity, production, industry acumen, and engaging event technology, we see the big picture as an invaluable part of the customer's journey. It all starts with our people. At Encore, we set the stage for success, for events, and for our team. With our robust training for service and technical excellence, a career in event technology is limitless. It's no wonder that we earn the Great Places to Work distinction year after year, but it doesn't end with our people. Utilizing the latest industry trends and thought leadership, we evaluate and pivot as necessary to deliver award-winning experiences. Our rich heritage is built on comprehensive creative, advanced technology, and staging services. We deliver solutions that set the standard, from rigging, internet, and power, to design and integration services. Our team delivers the expertise to ensure success. We invest in our partnerships to stress our commitment and collaboration to deliver our mutual objectives. With hospitality as our cornerstone, we provide the best products and services to connect and inspire our team, our partners, and event attendees. When people come together, ideas take root and lifelong relationships are built. With imagination and skill, the latest technology, and a passion to excellence, we create innovative event solutions. Encore. Events that transform. One customer, one event, one venue at a time.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being part of this. As Cindy said, I'm Jason Younce, Vice President of Campus Partnerships for Encore. It's super ironic that I represent a technology organization and you're not able to see me. But another story for another time. I'm joined by Joe Santo, Vice President for Encore as well. And rather than us use a bunch of time telling everybody about our background, just let me say that there's a bunch of years, decades, in fact, of experience between the two of us, and a lot of time spent in both the sales and the operations side of the company. And we're really excited we have the opportunity to present to everybody today. Before we dive in, we're going to have just a little bit of fun. This is kind of our way of ensuring that even if we're terrible presenters, not worthy of this awesome opportunity, we want to do what we can to hold your attention through the presentation. So you are all looking for this icon. There might be some slight variations of the icon in the presentation, but there's 3 of these hidden somewhere in this presentation. And so once you find one, that is, let's be stealthy about it. Don't raise your hand. Don't put anything in the chat. Just send me an email. Tell me the slide number, so maybe a little bit about where you found it on the slide, your phone number and your address, and I'll send you a $50 Amazon gift card just in time for the holidays. If you're able to accept it, that is. So this one doesn't count as an aside. There's 3 more after this. All right. So if you've interacted with Encore before, it's likely been in the live events industry. And that video, we think, tells a pretty good story, but there's a lot of things that it can't tell. So I'll see if I can fill in some of the holes here. Encore's been around since 1937. And as these years have gone by, our expansion globally has taken place. And today customers can interact with with one of the Encore family of companies in 22 countries, about 5 continents. We execute nearly 2 million events around the world each year, and really all that means is that we've built this network of professionals and a network of inventory that gives us the size and scope to kind of follow our customers' journey. The events that we support, they go all the way from a simple flip chart, then go a standard data projector on a screen, all the way to these multi-million-dollar productions in support of all different types of customers. But when you see the video, and then when you see these figures here, you might think that we're only this big production type of company, and that's a little bit of a misconception. It might surprise some of you to know that 80%, roughly 80% of that nearly 2 million events is what we would consider small to medium events. So, 1 or 2 projectors, a couple microphones, small virtual component, etc. There could be a ton of those happening at the same time. There could just be 1 or 2 in a particular venue. But, I think the point is that while some see us as this production entity, this global organization that specializes only in big events, the overwhelming majority of our customer interactions happen in the small to medium type of setting. So just an interesting distinction that I wanted to make there. So the presentation overall it's not just about Encore. I mean, there's a program that we're hoping to that we're going to roll out to everybody. But when you see a big company, thousands of people worldwide, there's no doubt that it's hard to set up a culture that is comfortable for everybody. But I've been with the company for nearly 30 years, and I remember it when it was just a couple thousand people, and now we're well over 10,000 people around the world. And there's certainly protocols and operational programs that help drive our business. But the thing that I'm most proud of, excuse me, is that despite our size and scale, Encore has put in a lot of work and a lot of sweat equity to create a culture that is supportive of the team members that call it home. And so we really only show this slide to help illustrate that we're not this this big robotic production engine. There is a soul to our company, and I think that the work that we put in makes us worthy for those great place to work certifications that we earn every year. So that video, the review of our scope, and then our commitment to doing things the right way, that's how we try and lay the foundation with with partners and prospective customers.
Good morning, afternoon, everyone. So I wanted to just spend a little time on the belonging piece. I think it's important. We spent this year really kind of looking at this and how we can readjust how we're looking at events in various venues. The research that we've reviewed and conducted on our own shows that a sense of belonging fosters the psychological safety required for individuals to feel more engaged, to collaborate, to deliver innovation. Creating a sense of belonging is a great starting place to achieve better event outcomes. Now, I'm not going to go through each of the bullets on this slide, but I do want to highlight a couple that stood out to me. And really, we share this with you to spark some thought in your mind about how you might deliver events a little differently. And we'll spend a little bit of time, if I'm looking at creative, ADA compliant art. Never really thought about that. I'm sure we're all focused and sensitive to ADA compliance, but ADA compliant art stood out to me. Immersive experiences to ignite the senses. We're going to spend a little bit of time in the next couple of slides talking about immersive experiences, but really the key, we think, to making better events last longer after the event occurs. Technology, QR codes for closed captioning stood out to me. And then streaming, recording, and hosting of events. We do a lot of virtual hybrid stuff in addition as an add-on to live events. And we think it's vitally important for those folks who can't make it, may not want to be in a larger crowd, something that we spent a lot of time on through the pandemic and continue to do so into the future, really. Then on the production side, again, not necessarily looking at big productions, but just overall production. decor to enhance the room to assist in message delivery, and to be appropriate for all attendees, really. Next slide, Jason. So if any of you attended IMEX and maybe happened by our booth, you would have seen our break free slogan. What does break free mean? Break free means get out of the norm of AV, get into event technology, and start to create an immersive experience that's really going to engage attendees. We want to take it away from what we're all used to, projector, microphone, PowerPoint slides, and really immerse attendees into the meeting. In a minute, we're going to review some research we've reviewed and conducted, as I mentioned. We've done a meeting planner pulse survey for about 2.5 years now, maybe since May of 2020, we started it, and we surveyed meeting planners every 3 to 4 months, and then have looked at other research with MPI and PCMA and other organizations like that around what is important to meeting planners. Here's what we've heard recently, and it supports the engagement immersive experience. 93% of event planners prefer immersive technology to engage attendees. Enhanced engagement, 85% of planners believe that immersive experiences significantly enhance attendee engagement. And I would argue learning. And then the return on the experience, really 83% of planners expect that the immersive technology can enhance their event's return and provide a better experience. Next slide, Jason. So we think a couple of takeaways on this slide. If I'm looking at from concept to reality, and unlocking the unforgettable is something that we have really embraced as an organization, and I would challenge you to embrace that as well. How do you make your event unforgettable? I'm not going to read the words on the slide so much as kind of just highlight, if you want to maximize for impact, create experiences that boost concentration, sharpen focus, leave lasting memories and impressions, evaluating the value of those event offerings. And then if you're looking at partner with excellence, to collaborate, to harness the power of immersion, to stand out from to offer unparalleled, unforgettable experiences. Once again, we have designed events now going forward to be unforgettable. And I think that's the key word. Jason?
Okay, so this slide and the next one are kind of the centerpieces of the presentation and probably what we spend the most time on. But like I said previously, most people have interacted with us in that traditional hotel world, and there's no doubt that supporting an event is done with a similar approach, regardless of the venue. It doesn't really matter. There are certain takeaways, there are certain things that you do to support an event, regardless of the venue. But taking our service, because of those nuances, taking our service and our operational model that we use in these venues, that won't necessarily work every place. But also the desired outcomes differ based upon that end user's profile and their expectations. And like I said, we can absolutely borrow ideas behind customer service, and we can use that same hospitality approach that we use to service in other venues. But we've got to understand the customer profile of the events that come to your facility, and we need to understand the mission of the institution itself, and we have to be able to tailor a program to it. And so in that hotel world, again, where most people have interacted with us, the majority of the events that we support are for these third-party customers, and they're paying something for the service at the venue. And we all know it can be tricky to provide this valuable product to the end user, and in this little setup here, sometimes the service outcomes flex based upon the spend threshold of the customer. So for example, you make decisions every day to provide chicken or steak. If there's some sort of social event, there's decisions, is it top shelf alcohol or is it wine and beer? And Encore does the same thing, one microphone or two. Sometimes customers opt for a monitor instead of a larger format projector. The hospitality approach to supporting the event doesn't change. The effort that we put forth to support the event doesn't change. The tools, however, do. And so I think, I don't think I'm off base here, that this same situation applies at times in some of your facilities. But, there is also a need to support the mission of the institution, support the events that the institution hosts, the other internal meetings, to provide support, to provide service in support of athletic related events. I mean, those don't necessarily fall into that same bucket. When we're supporting an event or a conference that has to meet some sort of certain financial expectations, there's a cost for the service. There may be an additional cost associated with adding equipment or tables, chairs, food, etc. And sometimes that convinces a customer to change their needs. But Encore understands that if we're fortunate to be in your facility and in partnership, we understand that not everything comes with a revenue outcome. And so our job is to not only help you drive revenue when needed, but also put revenue aside and shift to this legitimate service first mindset. To support those internal events, your academic conferences or these other activities that are related to the institution. And we call that, and there's no pride in authorship here, this is not anything that we're copywriting, but we call this a closed market mindset. And while we bring that up is, and if you remember when I said the customer's financial thresholds sometimes dictates service outcomes, like chicken, steak, one microphone, two, etc. But we're in that closed market mindset. We eliminate that decision tree and we support the need and we ensure the successful event and we don't make decisions based on money. So that's the beauty of the program that we've created, is we can shift it based on the needs of the institution. So we're taking our program, we're not folding you into our program. We're putting our program into your world. We're customizing a solution that makes sense for your institution. So every business has a value proposition, and there's things that that business commits to deliver in exchange for being able to do business, and this is ours. And I'm not going to read through everything here, but there's three in particular that I really want to focus on. First, again, comparing and contrasting to that other model I was referring to, in that world, Encore capitalizes all the equipment for the facility that we represent. And while we can certainly do that in post-secondary facilities, we do recognize that in some, much of the equipment that you have is probably already installed. Or you have an inventory that you own that needs to be used. And our program is nimble enough, and assuming that the equipment meets certain benchmarks, we'll take on administrative responsibility of your equipment. We'll fold it into an inventory management system. We'll assume responsibility for the quality control. We'll do the periodic physical inventories, etc. But we also have a design and integration part of our company that can take a blank palette, and we can partner with a college or an institution, and we can design and ultimately install a complete technology system. But we can also augment the existing system. We can only upgrade certain pieces. We can just implement some new technologies. We can do whatever the needs require at the facility. But it's important to note that our integration program is not just AV related here. We design Wi-Fi networks, power distribution systems, and in some facilities where you might have a large meeting space, we can even design and install a rigging system so you could safely hang from your ceilings. So much of the value proposition to any partner that we support is based on our team. the support that we give them, the world-class training that we provide them. But we do understand that in campus venues, we might be partnering with a college team. So a team of students, a small technology department, we might be partnering with them to support the needs of the facility. But some colleges and universities might make a consideration to partner altogether with an external provider. And that means in some cases that you would be displacing workers on your team. But it's important to know that part of our value proposition is the consideration of folding those team members into our team and preserving their employment. Now, there's a bunch of things I could talk about for a long time on here, you know, our training, the ability to execute virtual events, how we manage the service program, etc. But understanding that we need a value proposition that checks all the boxes, we've got a unique piece that we hope aligns with a lot of institutions. And, you know, to some people on this call, perhaps your primary focus is just a successful event. You know, to others, it might be as simple as, you know, just having somebody else manage the technology. But certainly some of the people that we might interact with, some of the stakeholders of your institution, you know, partnering with Encore is directly related to how it is that we can impact the student experience. And so there are these big components of our value proposition that are very student-centric. And I'll go through them quickly here in a second. But we understand that in order to draw interest as a partner to support the conference facilities at colleges and institutions, we've got to be able to add some value and increase the drawing power of the institution. And we understand that across the country, enrollment is down, and colleges and universities are looking for an edge to be able to attract students. So if you've got a hospitality-related program, or like even if you don't have a hospitality-related program, there is something in this value proposition that we think makes sense for virtually any institution. So on the slide before, the first two pieces of the value proposition were a certificate program and learning labs. And those are programs that we help design that are unique to your institution. And so, you know, if we're fortunate to get the opportunity to speak to the president of a college or the dean representing a certain program, you know, while there's a framework that will be in place, the whole point of a nimble program is to build something that works for your student population. But in general terms, Encore is going to leverage our training environment. We're going to use or create content and put it into a learning management system. We can also bolt it onto the universities. You know, the program that we've designed is based around a series of badges, and when you get all the badges, you get a certificate. But additionally, outside of the formal bolt-on programs to the majors and minors, Encore can create shadowing programs or learning labs that can be used for something that, you know, resembles on-the-job experience. And we can even couple that with a university work-study program, and the students, you know, can not only make a little side money, but they can get some relevant experience in the process. So, you know, there's a lot more to this than what I went through, and the act of creating this unique solution requires a little bit of, I guess, ideation with the leaders of a university. But when we talk about value adds to a place of higher learning, we think that being able to join the journey of the students is really, really important. So not everybody has a hospitality and tourism degree that's offered. Not everyone has this laser-focused event management or technology-related degree, but virtually everybody has a degree that's related to one of these. And so our organization is mapping some experiences that that could be relevant for any of these related degrees. And so, you know, while business management might not really have a direct tie to how a microphone works, it does have ties to operational leadership or maybe even something sales related. But the last arrow on that academic value proposition slide was regarding post-graduation opportunities. And so while we're supporting the meeting and the logistics and the technology needs of the conference center, we're also, like I said, following that student's journey. But what happens when they're ready to graduate. And they've invested so much of their time and money into chasing a degree. Well, Encore's got a couple different programs, and we have internship opportunities, and you all know how those work. But a student can also be placed into a technical role. And with our international footprint, a graduate can likely find a career opportunity wherever it is that they want to go. But moving into leadership or management roles often takes a bit more investment of time. And so we want to help shorten that time and give graduates the opportunity to move their career on just a little bit quicker. So we've created what we call the National College Leadership Program. And you can read what it is here and all the different steps. But in short, it's this, it's like this rotational residency program. And at the end, it earns them an important manager role in the company. And by the way, they also get paid as a manager during the training, and then we will support them with relocation should they want to be placed in a spot that's different from where their training took place. So we sort of went around the world in 30-ish minutes here, and we tried to give you a taste of not only what we can do, but how we do it. But sometimes I guess it doesn't really matter what you can do. It matters why you do it. And Joe and I are both really, really proud of how we show up every day and, the value that we try to bring to our customers. And we hope we've given you a good taste of it. So thanks very much for your time.
Well, thank you, Jason. Well, I cannot see if any questions came in, but I have a few on my own. I think you can see it once you do it, or you can see the questions, or if not, you can just give me back control. But I mean, I know we heard the word immersive a lot, like immersive events and immersive experiences. I mean, what exactly is that? When you talk about immersive, is it
Sure.
because it's all your senses? What exactly, when we say that, what does that exactly mean in your world?
It really is utilizing all of your senses. One of the things that we have really taken on as a project this year and going forward is everybody loves LED walls. They are the definition of immersive. They really pull you in. They're bright. They're flexible. They can do a lot of things. Getting away from, I can't tell you how many times we hear people talk about, oh my gosh, we got to do another PowerPoint thing, right? And we just completed a PowerPoint thing. How do you take that and putting into an environment where lighting is changing all the time, where the sound is different? It's not house sound. It's really good sound coming from line arrays. It's LED walls or spandex with rear screen projection. It's screens that are coming alive. It's creating an environment that is really unforgettable and geared towards learning. After all, when we're all putting on events, we're trying to convey a message, and that message needs to be conveyed so that we are retaining information, and we feel that immersing people into the technology, into the event, really enhances that learning, that unforgettable, that experience. So it's all of the above, really.
Yeah, well, great, thank you. Because you think about it, and I immediately went back to, I went to Disneyland, and like they had like the 4-dimensional where you're watching a movie, things are happening, sounds, sensations and such. So that's what I was thinking of immersive.
A good way to think about it is think about a room that has 3 walls and a ceiling that's an LED screen, and you walk into that room,
right?
And things are happening above you and all around you. You don't forget that.
Right. Yeah, no, it sounds great. And I just have to really, because I know that Jason spent, had to go through some of those slides when he was talking about the academic value prop. I've come from a supply chain background, so I have never, you heard it talking about, but the fact that you actually, work with the current staff and you provide all these opportunities for them to actually advance in the field in technology, if that's something they want to do. That's a very interesting concept. And I just wanted to, if you could make it just a little bit clearer how that works, because I know there was a lot of information on that slide, but yeah, I just thought that was a fantastic option that Encore offers.
Well, you talking about the post-graduation stuff in particular?
Correct.
Yeah, so, if we're partnering with a facility and we happen to employ team members, students, or people that were previous team members of the institution, I mean, certainly having that experience gives them a big leg up once they graduate. But the National College Leadership Program, I think that's the more impressive part of it. Any of those degrees I mentioned on that one slide, they can come from any institution with really any of those degrees, and they go through kind of a unique interview process, and they get this leadership experience that'll be like 5 weeks in a technical role, and then 5 weeks in a sales role, and 5 weeks in a operations leadership role, and then we'll move them to the production side of our business so they can see all the really big stuff that was shown in that video. And then they'll get some logistics experience and maybe some administrative experience. But then at the end of that 5 months, and there's benchmarks along the way, kind of like things that they have to clear along the way. But at the end of that 5 months, they get a management role someplace in the organization. I think, with the exception of a few team members that I've heard who have withdrawn from the program during it, we have 100% graduation rate. So when someone makes it into the program, they complete it and they get placed in a management role somewhere in the organization. And I don't know how many it is exactly, but we are well into 3 figures of team members.
Yeah,
for the organization through the program.
That's fantastic. I mean, again, and the key word that you're using there is partnership. Like, you're really becoming integrated into the overall operations of the events at the universities versus just being I don't like the word vendor, but being a vendor.
We don't like it either. We like partner.
When I was at ISM, we were not allowed to use that word. We could only use supplier. We were not allowed to use vendor. So, but, well, I mean, I don't have any other questions here. So I want to say big thank you to Joe and Jason. And for everybody on the line, our next session begins at 11:35, and now that is Mountain Time. Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.